Episode 1: The Throne of Satan and the organizations that follow Satan. This is what I was told. In Geneva, in Switzerland, where the Swiss Guard come from, who served the Vatican. Now in the Bible, the Vatican is actually described and mentioned as the people who wear the robes of the Pope and the pointy hat of the Pope and the purple uniforms and all them type of uniforms, and the many statues, Roman pagan statues all around, and the statues that cry. Well, how do statues cry, and how do all these things happen, and what is the meaning, and what is the next thing to do, and what is the purpose of your life and the organization, and where do you find yourself? Now, it was aforetime, some time ago, that there were some very poor people who didn't have a lot going on in their lives, and they struggled with all kinds of things, and the friendships and the mistaken words, and they couldn't control their tongues very much, and they were struggled to get jobs, and when they did get jobs, they earned not a great deal of money, and their lives were unfulfilled and unsatisfying. Sound familiar? Right. And one day of the days came that these people and these men and a few of the women, they decided to do the unthinkable, and instead of calling upon only the creator of the universe and all that it contains, who is outside of the universe, rather these people who I won't mention yet, they pretend to be Satanists, and they made a pact, a coven, and a few weeks later, after they made that coven, they were contacted by these men in black suits. Now, obviously, the demons, which are unseen predominantly, they must have heard this coven in the times of adversity. And a few weeks later, out of the blue, some men in black suits approached them and said, "You've won something. You have won a big prize." And they thought it was a serious prize. It wasn't a prize. It was just a way of introducing them into the organization. The organization in Geneva. So they had tricked them into believing that they had won some great prize that they hadn't even entered. And then they were taken to flown to the nearest airport, and they were treated with respect and honor, given new clothes and everything, new shoes. And they were taken to the local airports, and there they checked in, and everyone was nice and friendly to them. They went through check-in very easily, and they looked around thinking, this was a bit easy. Maybe my luck's turned around for the better. Everything seems to have changed for the better in their lives. And so it was. They got through, and they waited, and they looked for in the airport. They watched the planes go by, and they got a coffee and a drink, and they were afforded an allowance, and they were told what they had won, and they wasn't told exactly why they were selected, but they were selected, and these things, I'm told, go on. And when they flew, they boarded the plane, and they put the luggage on the plane, and they were escorted in a friendly manner by these people who had claimed that they had won a prize to Geneva. And they flew to Geneva, which is the seat of Satan on the earth, is Geneva. Now, the seat of Satan himself is on the water, in the Bermuda Triangle. We'll talk more about that another time, but for now, the seat of Satan for the human beings is in Geneva, as it's mentioned in the Bible. A specific verse I will show you the reference of why that makes sense, why that will make sense later, or on another episode, or I'll give it a link. So they went there and they think, this is very strange. They thought, this is good, maybe we'll get our prize here. And they were took into this big hotel, glass buildings, very elaborate, lavish, big vases, huge vases, like 5-foot tall vases, and big rugs, huge reception room of this hotel in the mountains in Switzerland. And there was all these black cars coming, and limousines and Land Rovers, and all these other people, of all the other people that were being gathered here in this giant hotel at this meeting conference point. And they went in there, and the people talked to them, and everyone was friendly to them, as if they knew each other, as if they were as if they'd always been members, just like in that movie, which is called They Live. And the people there were friendly, and they were given free drinks. They said on the house, and they went to the bar, and the bar staff said, "Yes, sir, what will it be? Your money's no good here, sir. It's on the house." And they said, "Oh, it's free, is it? Well, I'll have..." And they said what they would have, and they drank the drinks, and some of them ordered whiskey, and some of them ordered all these different drinks and food. And for those people who had been poor before this, they could barely believe their luck. They couldn't quite believe it was actually happening now. And you think, wow, is this actually going on, happening, And what it was, you see, that there was all kinds of lights there and chandeliers, and it was an elaborate place. And they said, "Here is your suite," and they checked in. And there was all kinds of people they had not met before. And some had met before. You can see them talking to each other in the big lobby, in the grand lobby, on the red sofas and all these type of things, and around the dining hall in Geneva. And they're thinking, maybe other people have won prizes, and maybe we're going to receive the prize here. And they were excited. They're thinking, they were asking people that they had not met before, "Oh, where are you from? Oh, did you meet the men in black as well? Did they bring you here?" They were very friendly, weren't they? And they wanted to know what they had entered and what prize they had won. Because obviously it was a very good prize, a very wealthy prize, a very worldly prize, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's okay, it's good to enjoy the worldly life. However, you see, and then the people got talking, and then someone dressed in a long type of tuxedo robe, like a penguin costume, came in, tuxedo, and announced, I think he was the butler, but I'm sure he wasn't, and he announced, and he called out certain names and said, "The following names, please come to conference room 22A. Make your way there, please. The meeting will commence shortly, and you're in for a treat." Now, when the people, all the many people in the lobby heard this, they went silent and they listened. And then after he'd said that, he vanished back out through the door into the hallway whence he had came. And the people said, "What is this?" And obviously those who had heard their names, they got up and talked amongst each other, and then decided to go and find this room 22A. And so they did. For those people whose names had been called, They got up after hearing their names, and they walked upon the blue carpet into the past through the open doors, and those who needed to go to the toilet went to the toilet and looked in the mirror, and in the mirror, in the reflection, they said, "You can do this. I love you. I love you. You are blessed." And then they, after looking in the mirror and giving themselves a pep talk, they smartened themselves, and in they went. Now, walking through the corridor, out of the toilets and out of the lobby, going down the corridor, pushing past doors, looking for all these conference rooms. Where is conference room 22A? Where is conference room 22A? And they saw these other doors, and these doors were not that door. And then they walked, and having walked, eventually stepping forward, they came to a big room in the hallway, and it said, "Room 22A." Feeling a bit nervous, a bit wondering what was on the other side, what was all this about. Because many of these people had come from abject lives, not even lives, just existences and adversity. So many adversities they had come from. And some of these people were in their 20s and 30s and 40s and 50s and all different ages. And they had all gathered here, and someone pushed the door and it opened. And they went in. And as soon as they pushed the door to go forwards, they saw that there was a platter of food there and a banquet and all kinds of merrymaking and fun and dancing. And like these wooden floor whereupon they parquet, and they went and they began to see all the waitresses in black and white uniform with frills on the white bits, and butlers, and the butler opened the door and pinned them back. And the people then relaxed and thought, food. Where there is food, there is pleasure, there is relaxation, there is, we need to eat. The stomach was rumbling in some of these people. And so they came, and they were told by an announcer, "Eat, for those of you who are hungry. I know you've all come from different places, from around the world, and you must be famished. Please do eat and feel free and relax. And then once you've eaten, the meeting will commence. And you are very, very important people. We want you to know that you are very, very, very important people and have been selected from around the world. So eat, and then in half an hour, the conference will take place." And the people, they ate, and they danced, and they saw people dancing in a formal way, and there was all kind of buffet spread out, and they went to the table, and looking on the table with the white cotton, and the silver trays, and the silver forks, and there was just all kinds of things, lobsters, and all kinds of meats, all kinds of vegetarian food, and warmly cooked pastas in big metal silver trays. And everyone began to relax and started talking and eating and sitting with each other. And they sat around these round tables and with silver cutlery, and they ate like animals because they had not yet been etiquetted. They had not been sophisticated yet. So they ate as they normally would have eaten, as they used to eat in the times of adversity. And these people, they were loving the free food, absolutely loving it. Every morsel, and the smell of fresh cooked food was delicious. And there was just long rows and rows and rows of tables with food on, and platters of food, and all these hors d'oeuvres, and butlers were coming round with hors d'oeuvres to the tables and asking, "What drink would you like?" and cracking open and popping the champagne, and the froth coming out, and the butlers came round to each table. And these people who had not known each other before this, they were sat around the tables with each other, eating and stuffing their faces with all kinds of food and caviar. And there were €500 bottles of wine that the butlers had opened and said, "Would you like some, sir? Sir, would sir like some? Tell me when to stop." And they poured the wine and every type of food and grapes and pressed. And for those who wanted non-alcoholic things, they were there. Every kind of thing they could want to eat was already as if it was known what they would want to eat, and it was there. And all the vegetables were cooked slow and softened and warm, and the aroma was good. And the formal dancing went on. And the people ate, and they ate, and they went back for more. And they filled their plates, and they filled their boots, until they were full and they couldn't eat any more. And then when they almost couldn't eat any more, they rested, some of them, and they started to talk to each other. "Where are you from?" "Oh, I'm from this country, I'm from this place." "Oh, did you enter a competition?" And they began to realize that they couldn't remember what competition this was, but they knew it was something good. And maybe some of them said, maybe we've been selected for a special reason. And they were wondering, why are we here? Why have we been selected and brought here? And so it was that they ate some more, and they really enjoyed the taste and the flavour and the crunches and the textures, and until they couldn't eat any more of the sweets and the cakes and every kind of custard and every kind of moist cake and every kind of food that they could ever want, and steaks thick as an inch wide, an inch thick, and all kinds of foods, sea platters, and people were eating all kinds. And then when they had eaten, they could not eat no more, and the time was almost time for the conference. The waitresses went away and took away the plates and tidied up the place, and the speaker came out onto the stage and spoke, and the people turned in their seats, sat beside the other eaters, and they looked upon the stage and saw this strange person with reddish browny hair and a bit of a stubble. And he spoke in his suit, and he spoke to the microphone, and he looked at the people, and he scanned his eyes across the room and said, "You are all very lucky to be here. Shortly it will be explained what good qualities we have seen in you, and why we think your opinions and views are very valid. And very soon, in the next 5 minutes, we will ask you to go through these doors here." He pointed to the doors. "And there will be a conference room. And you will hear a very secret meeting here in Geneva. But first, before you go into the meeting, you will hear very sensitive world plans and world documents. And you must each sign a non-disclaimer waiver agreement form to say that whatever you hear in this private meeting, you will not disseminate. It is not for public dissemination. And through them doors, for those of you who go into the conference, you will learn many new things about the world and how it operates and who operates it. And you have the chance to be part of this. And this chance and opportunity given to you now that you are here may be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for many of you. And this opportunity, if you choose to join our organization, will greatly enrich your entire lives of you and your families in ways that you can't even imagine. Thank you. I look forward to seeing you in the conference. And then the microphone went a bit off, and he walked away, and the people hushed and murmured amongst each other at the tables that had come from all different countries, that had formerly been nobodies and had come from all kind of impoverished lives, and they talked amongst each other, thinking, what is this? This is a great opportunity. And they had seen by the surroundings that they were in of pure opulence, and that everything was paid for, and they didn't have to pay for their flights or food or accommodation or anything. And they already had in their pockets, from when they checked into the hotel, key cards for the personal rooms, for the personal hotel rooms, that they had not, some of them had not gone into yet, but they had in their pockets key cards for the individual hotel rooms which they could stay in, and were there to stay in. And the people who gave them these cards and these free hotel accommodations thought that they would stay in their hotel rooms, all of them, because they knew, most of them knew not anyone else here in Geneva, and they thought that they would not fly home, but they thought that they wanted a better life, a much better quality of life, in this worldly life, currently, even now. And many of them did. And it was good that they did. It's good that they wanted better for themselves and others. It was good, to an extent. And beyond that extent, we shall see. And then many people actually said, oh, I'm getting up, I'm going, I'm seeing what this is all about. And some people and some girls and some young men, they questioned it, thinking, some of them said, this couldn't be really happening. This doesn't normally happen to people. I've never heard of this happening to anyone that I went to school with or anything. And so they got up and they took off their napkins and all these type of things, and some of them went and washed their hands, and some of them went into the places, and the waitresses and butlers came around and placed on everyone's seat, on everyone's dinner table, after having removed the plates where they had eaten, with half-finished food and all kinds of people who had finished most of the food. And after they took as soon as they took the plates away, the waitresses came and placed a non-disclaimer form in front of each person, and gave each person a pen on the table where they were sat eating, having eaten. And picking up the pen, the people didn't really read through all of the small print, but many of the people just signed, thinking this was some kind of wonderful experience. And with pen in hand, in the two fingers, between the thumb, pressing with the thumb on, feeling the weight of the pens, sat at the dining tables where they had just eaten to the fill, all choice meals of quantity and opulence in this amazing setting. Many of them began to scan read through the small print of the documents that the maids and waitresses had placed before them. And many of them just signed and printed their name, holding pen in hand, resting upon the table where they had eaten. They signed the forms, and many of them, the older gentlemen of the people, scan-read the forms, not reading all of the forms, but reading the outlying of the outliers of the forms. And they signed too, and many of them signed, and most of them signed, and on each one of them signing, a waitress or a waiter or someone, a butler, would come and tap them on the shoulder and say, "Come with me, if you please," and the likes of that. And they took the forms. When each one had signed, they took the forms and took them individually into the conference room. Now, opening the conference doors, each one came in with someone to inspect that they had signed and their name on these non-waiver disclaimer forms, and they entered the big room. Entering the big room through the two doors, the butler held the doors open, and they walked in. They walked in to see a very, 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 very long room with a very, 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 very long black table. A very, 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 very long table. Maybe it could hold 100 people, and there was about 100 seats around it. And far in the distance there was the head chair, and there was many chairs around it. And on the wall, looking up, there was a big wall where a projector was projecting something, and it was paused. And they had a projector, and everything was in place. And the people came in, and they each took a seat, and they could see in the distance on this long table that there were some notable people there. One of them being Bill Gates, and another being two people, ambassadors, sat across from him on the table, on this very table. And the people came in and they sat around, as you do in a meeting, and when everyone was sat, the butlers came in, and the doors were shut, and they shut the doors, and they locked them. Now everyone was in this room that was to be in the room, that was in the room, and sitting down, and some people being nervous, but most of them being calm, because of the excellent spread of food they had just eaten. The meeting began and took place, and this was a private meeting. And there was some talk back and forth between Bill Gates and these two people sat opposite him. And then the person at the projector started to speak. And this person, everyone listening attentively, this person stood up and spoke, standing next to the projector, and said, Thank you everyone for coming and attending. I will shortly allow you to know why you have been selected for this very special opportunity, and we will start to explain, if my projector is working, what this is all about. So let's begin. Let's see if this projector is working. So he started the projector and put on some clips on the wall, and everyone who was on one side of the long table, they could see it, and the others had to turn around while sat in their seats and look up. And he said, private or secret societies have existed for ages, throughout the eons, and they're not all evil. As you can see, they existed from the time of the ancient Egyptians, and he showed many clips of different Egyptians and different things from ancient Egypt and different society clips on the projector on the wall. And the people were looking and paying attention. And he continued saying, in the places you call homes, where you have come from, you have each experienced adversity, and each of you have done something very special, knowingly or unknowingly, in your times of adversity. And that is indeed the reason why you are here today, because each of you have done something, some kind of process, in your homelands or wherever you have come from, in adversity, that has drawn you here. You may scarcely believe it, but this is why you have been selected. You have each done something that has brought you here. Now, after you have understood a little more about what we can offer you and what the whole setup is, you will find in your hotel suites, when you do go there, an arrangement of sorts of skis and snowboards and checks and passes for you to go around Geneva and use the things of the town for freely and enjoy yourself, and you'll each find a bit of money there in your rooms and other such things, a change of clothes and some scents and some other things and some soaps and some bathrobes. Feel free to take them. But for those of you who are interested in what we have to tell you, another conference will be held in this very room in 3 days' time. This is just a preliminary conference, just to introduce you to the idea. So, after this short conference, feel free to chat with one another in the lobby and in your rooms, and go and enjoy the local scenery and the ski slopes. Enjoy, and the next meeting will be in 3 days from now. For those of you who are dreaming and hoping for more, and who have been hoping and dreaming and praying and hoping and wishing for more out of this life, this may very be your very opportunity to excel straight to the top in life. And he went on to explain, and he showed different clips on the projector, and he explained, and he showed short little videos, and he explained, and he said, with all the people paying attention, everyone's ears was pricked up, and very paying attention to what he had to say, and he continued, and he spoke, and he said, "The world is not run by governments. It is run by perception. That is why we lie to the masses. This is why we have to lie to the masses of the people of the earth, so that they perceive reality to be one thing that they cannot operate, whereas we, your brothers in the secrecy, in the societies, we share internally with each other how the world really operates, so that we can stand out and be outstanding in society. Because after all, if every horse was to run at the very same speed, what would make your horse superior? If everyone was equal at football, there would be no outstanding footballers. If everyone had the same amount of money and resources and money in life, then no one would be rich. And here we believe that in order for us to be rich and to enjoy life, we have to have the masses of people in adversity, fear, or in a basic as lower class. And we are here, and we can only be higher class if there is a lower class. Does that make sense? And some of the people nodded, and some of the people were thinking, this doesn't make sense, and why am I here? What have I done to be brought to such a secret society and be told these things? And then Bill Gates got up and spoke, and he said, and he came to the projector and he showed little things, and he said, "Welcome, welcome to Geneva. It has been my high honor and esteem to be a member of this secret society for a long time. And as you have probably heard, that I want to serve my master, and I want to enjoy this life of this world to its fullest, to its highest opulence, and I want to degrade and cut off the weeds from society. Is there anything wrong with that?" And he raised a little glass of a little 1954 drink of wine, and he drank from it, and the waitresses came round and gave a bit of wine to everyone, and the people drank. Apart from the Muslims and certain other people that were there, they didn't drink, apart from one did. And there was all kinds of people that had been conscribed there, people who were Satanists, people who were Muslims, people who were Jews, people who were Christians, atheists and Hindus, and all walks of life had been conscribed to this very meeting place. For what secret reasons shall we ever learn? And Bill Gates went on for his little speech and said, "I will be with you in 3 days at the next conference. But for now, I have to go. But I just made a little appearance now, so that you can see that this is a real opportunity, and it's a real thing happening. And I hope to see most of you, if not all of you, in 3 days' time at the conference. And I will be up there on the ski slopes and in the helicopters enjoying Geneva. I hope you enjoy it too. Don't be in any rush whatsoever to go back to your mundane, ordinary lives. After this weekend and after this week here, some of you may never go back to your mundane, ordinary lives or jobs ever again. And he smiled and he drank his drink, finished it off in one shot, and then he walked out with 2 bodyguards following him. And they unlocked the doors and he left, and then they locked the doors again. And on the way out, the person at the giving the speech, the one at the projector, said, a round of applause there, and the people clapped a little bit, chop, 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 and for Bill Gates. And he said, and this guy said, in the places you call homes where you have come from, you have each experienced adversity. And in your adversity, you have each done something very special, knowingly or unknowingly, that has brought you here. And some of you are not ready, and we shall, in 3 days' time from now, throw you indeed in the deep end. But let it suffice, for now, that what the masses of people have been taught at primary school, and specifically at secondary schools around the world, in various countries, is just a perception of reality. It is not reality. It is a lie. Many of the things are true that they have been taught, but many things therein are not the full truth. We will reveal more of the full truth only once you have an understanding and you see how things operate. Will you truly know how to be successful and how we operate as successful people in the society. Now, each of you, if you would like to close your eyes, you will experience something now. You will feel it. And the people therein sat at this long, long, long table. Each of them closed their eyes, and most of them closed their eyes, and some just slightly opened it. And when you opened your eyes, you saw that everyone else's eyes were closed, so you closed your eyes, and this is what they did. And the room went very cold, as if a breeze was coming in, but there was no windows, apart from windows on the ceiling, of course. And very cold came in, shivering up people's spines, and strange feelings presented to people. And the person at the projector said, I advise you at this very time, please keep your eyes tightly closed, for it will be a shock to the system. It is much better for you if you keep your eyes firmly closed and feel and listen to whatever you feel. When I say open your eyes, you may open your eyes, but for now, keep your eyes closed, please. It's very important you keep your eyes closed. And everyone kept their eyes closed, and this one person, he slightly opened his eyes, ever so slightly, so he could see out, and he saw through the corners of his eyes that everyone else had their eyes shut, and he saw what he perceived to be spirits and shadows running around the room, and on the walls and on the ceilings. And he was beside himself, but he just gripped his legs and squeezed them, and squeezed his legs and tensed them up tightly, and he closed his eyes. And something very unusual was happening in that very room. And the strange feelings that people started to feel euphoria for no reason, and all kinds of clarity of mind. And after 5 minutes, the coldness went. And the man who had come, who previously had been poor, who had come, and he kept his, and he every now and then would slightly open one of his eyes, and slightly look to see what was going on. without moving his head whatsoever. He did it in a sly manner, you see. He noticed that everyone else's eyes were closed. Even the person who was telling the people to close their eyes, who was stood at the projector, even the person who was leading the seminar, he even had his eyes closed, and he saw that these spirits turned into the form of, from the form of spirits to the form of shadows, into the world around the room and on the walls, and then they slowly changed into a gaseous, solid gas form, a greeny gas form, and then they attired into a physical form and with a suit on. And they stood at the head of the table. And then he saw this all through his slightly open eye, whilst being in utter fear. But he hid his fear, and he stayed his body perfectly still. And then, because his eye was almost shut, but he could slightly see through it, he shut it. He was looking through his very eyelashes, which were long, and everyone else had their eyes closed. And then the practitioner, who was at the projector, stood up, who was already stood up. He said, "Now, everyone, you may open your eyes." And everyone opened their eyes, and they looked about, rubbing their eyes, and looked around, and they saw that there was a new person in the room, 3 new people in the room, all stood. One of them was stood at the far left, at the end of the table, past where Bill Gates had been, and the other 2 were stood either side of the man stood up at the projector. And he introduced these people, and he said, "These are our special friends. They have come from very, very far lands, far, far away, and have brought us glad tidings, and provided for us many great things. For they are one of the reasons why we succeed and excel far above mankind. And they are messengers who have told us to keep mankind low and in a low vibration, and for us to stay as the superiors." And these 3 people introduced themselves and said their names. And then the strangest thing was, everyone was laughing and happy and felt really good, because they was made to supernaturally almost feel a euphoria, a really good feeling, because these 3 demons who had turned into physical men, they had made them feel these feelings, made them feel really good, even though they could have made them feel much, much fear. And, well, that's what I was told anyway. And one of them at the head spoke, and he said, "Hello everyone. Hello, 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 hello. I'm glad to be here. I've just flown from a very, very distant land, and I've come here in the blink of a flash of an eye. In the twinkling of an eye, I have been here. I'm sure you all have had very long flights from all the different places you've come from. And I'm very old, and our purpose is great. And I'm going to show you now a little few magic tricks for your entertainment, just to acclimatize you to what we at the secret societies know. Whereas all the people who are not members of high-level ranking members of secret societies, they have been taught the Freemason school system. They have been taught and indoctrinated over years and years and years and years of going to school, one perception of reality, whereas we have the old version of reality. And that's why we, at the secret society, have all the lovely good things. And those people who are not members of secret societies, even if they do have a commodity of wealth, they are often lacking in many different things. And then he went on, and the guy stood at the projector, said his name, which was an old-fashioned name, an old ancient name. I can't remember what it was now, and he said he's going to perform some magic tricks for us. And this is just a slight magic trick. And he performed all kinds of little magic tricks, which we will detail later. And then he said, "You may go now and enjoy yourselves. Each of you, if you look in your pockets, has a key card for your room with your room number on it. In your room you will find some money and skis and other ski wear and other things, and enjoy yourself for the next 3 days. In 3 days' time from now, for those of you who are still here, still interested, the real conference will begin in this room in 3 days' time from now. So go and enjoy yourself and be merry, and enjoy Geneva. Thank you." And the doors, and upon saying that, the doors flew open. They unlocked themselves and opened. And the people got out of their trance and stood up and off their leather chairs and looked around and started to walk out, and they walked out. And when they walked out, they started speaking to each other. They walked into the room where they had just eaten. And the room had been cleaned and everything, and all the tables were clean again, and the food was restocked. And they went out into the lobby, where the large lobby of the hotel entrance, and they came out speaking to each other, saying, "Wasn't that wonderful? Oh, look at that! Oh, how did he do that magic trick?" And all these type of things. And they went out and they went into the lobby, and other people looked at the cards, and they went into the rooms, and they didn't know each other really, but they were saying stuff to each other such as, "Oh, it's so exciting, it's so good to be here. Oh, I wonder what our room's going to be look like. Oh, let's look at your room. Oh, I want to go to my room, I want to see what it's like. Oh, let's go skiing. Oh, I've always wanted to go skiing. Do you know how to ski?" And another guy said, "Yeah, I'll teach you how to ski." And everyone was making friendships with everyone else that was there, because they were all excited, because they thought they had won a prize. So they went to Geneva, and they went in the room, and they went in the food room and in the conference room, in the feeling of anticipation, positive anticipation of getting some kind of prize. And that's why they felt good, because it was a good feeling of positive anticipation, the type of anticipation a child might feel the night before Christmas, when they are hoping that being may come down the chimney and give them all kinds of presents. That feeling of positive anticipation. And they went to the rooms, and these two guys and these two girls went to their rooms, and they put the key card in. They went up the lift, and they put their key card in, and they opened the rooms to their suites, and they looked in their suites, and they saw they had a large bed, and it was filled, and it was lovely, and everything was neat, and they had towels heated and folded into the shape of a swan upon their beds, and there was chocolates upon their beds wrapped up, and there was all these towels and all kinds of things. And they went in to look at the toilets, and the shower was massive, and they had like this power shower and a walk-in shower, and they had all these things, and the hotel rooms were very, very ample size. And TV, some of them checked the TV was working, some of them had a shower, and they had all kinds of things. And they went into to see inside the wardrobes. Opening the wardrobes, they found brand new ski boots to fit the specific size, and brand new ski wear, all different colours, like bright green and reds and oranges and different colours, and ski helmets and skis and snowboards, and everything made to fit them. And they found in their bed was a little red envelope, and they opened the envelope, and in there was a load of money for them to spend, and a little message that read, "Enjoy your time." And it told them the time of the next conference and where the next conference would be. And it said, make friends, get to know each other. And it suggested for them to go upon this ski slope and to go to these different places to eat and drink at night and in the day and enjoy themselves. And it said, explore, have fun, and see you at the conference. Be there sharp. And the people picking up this piece of lustrous cardboard, well, lustrous card, not cardboard, card, with these ink-written words on them. They held them close, and then they put them down on the sideboard, the wooden sideboard. And some of the people, they went to sleep, and some of them rested and watched telly, and others of them went out and enjoyed themselves and looked around Geneva, and many of them went out in groups. And they were exchanging phone numbers and ringing each other on WhatsApp and on WhatsApp. And they were forming new friendships now. Because being a member of a secret society is where you form new friendships, as long as you have that excited anticipation, positive feeling, where you're happy to be here. And so it was that they went out, and they went skiing, and they went snowboarding, and they went up on the big ski lifts, some of them for the very first time. And they went out in groups, and they went up the big ski lift, taking them, and they could look down, and they put all this new gear on, and looked in the mirror, and they looked great, and they felt great, and they looked great. It was fantastic, and all the alpine fresh air was there in the mist, and all the mountains, and the coldness, and it wasn't that cold actually, even though there was snow everywhere in the mountains. The snow made it less cold for some reason, and the gloves and the clothes were absolutely warm, so you couldn't feel a thing of cold, not really. They were excellent clothes, excellent things. Everything was to the highest standard. And the people went there, and when they went there, a lot of them said to each other, "I can't ski, I don't know how to ski, I don't know how to snowboard, do you? Will you teach me?" And some of them said, "Oh, I'll teach you," and they taught them how to stop and all these things. And another said, "Oh, I don't know," and the other persons would say, "Oh, I don't know how to ski either, I don't want to do it, it's dangerous." And then a person spoke to them on the mountainside as soon as they got off the ski lift and said, "I am your instructor. Will you come this way, madam, sir, and go down the slope, and I will instruct you. Shall we go for the medium slope to begin with, or the mild one?" And and some of them said medium, and another girl said mild. So she insisted, and they all went down the mild slope, and they learned to ski, and they learned to snowboard. Those who had skis learned to ski, and those who had snowboards learned to snowboard on the mild slope, and the instructor was just there ready for them, as if he knew they were coming, and he taught them, and they had a great time. The sun was out, and it was really warm, because the sun is quite nearer to the mountains than it is. So for some reason people got a suntan. Doesn't make sense, but there you go. And they really enjoyed it, flying down these skis, and people were falling and laughing in the soft powdered snow. It was like Christmas or something, but even better. And it was like full of presents. It was fantastic. And everyone was there with new ski boots and everything, and you just ploughed your way through it. And yes, then you learnt how to lean into it, lean to the left, and then you'd take it to the left, and you could see just behind, from the corner of your eyes, you could see the trails you were leaving in the snow, and the powdered snow, and it was real, it was really good snow, and the sky was so clear, almost without cloud, and the sun was blazing. It was fantastic. The sun felt hotter than it should, but that's the way it felt, because the sun is hot, apparently. And wow. And people were just enjoying themselves and laughing and falling backwards in the snow. And quite frankly, to be honest now, I must say that exponentially, today we've come to the end of our time for this first episode, episode 1. So if you would like to hear the remainder of what happened, and this is for entertainment purposes only, I'm stipulated to say that this is not accurately true. I have to say that this is for entertainment purposes only. The next part of this episode will be concluded, what happened in Geneva, and shall be entitled Geneva Episode 1. And if you would like to find the second half of the video, which I will be doing on either episode 15 or episode 30, stay subscribed. Please don't like this video. A lot of people were giving me loads of likes. I'd rather get subscriptions than likes. But thanks for the... you stay classy, San Diego. Anyway, the next episode we'll be talking about a person who had an encounter with a Sasquatch, and another person who had an encounter with a genie. Stay subscribed, stay tuned, so that you can check out what's happening next. This concludes the end of episode 1 on the channel Supernatural Encounters, sponsored by Conspiracy Club. Is there any truth in this? Subscribe to find out. Keep open-minded, and we will see how deep the rabbit hole goes.